Another thing to keep in mind for retro mode is those take any caves, which could be out there. It looks like we have a sanctuary start from both runners to pick up 5 rupees.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing a lot of extra blue rupees here with the 15 removed keys all becoming 5 rupees.
Alright, and we already have some divergence and an early map check, which I barely saw. I mostly saw the crystal in Tower of Hera. Instantly parted ways, with Tadaru looks like to be setting up the Houlihan.
Yeah, once again get that money off. Also looks like we have a 5-6 crystal on Eastern.
Axe brings that pyramid. Ooh, that is a really nice bush grab. 8 bombs. That's setting up the runners to easily clear up most things. And already we see Chexhuman checking a place he normally would not, looking for those take any caves or the extra stores to buy the keys.
Yeah, you're going to see the take any caves are going to be replacing the single entrance places. We see a small key up on top of the Lumberjack Cave. Probably something that you're not going to really be worried about, just spending extra 100.
Well, there is the part of this being the all dungeons, so we will have to do Aga 1 at some point.
Yeah. It's one of those things where if you have to clear it out for the Dark World access, fine, but otherwise just leave it for after GT.
Try to save it, and we're checking to see. Just found a chess game.
Alright, so Chex is getting his normal routing off here. Tadaru is instead going to go up here, check Uncle and some of the Hyrule Castle checks.
Getting a full magic refill out of there. Alright, 5 rupees from our uncle, and a wild 20 rupee growing in the mushroom spot. That final crystal at the Desert Palace.
Check's only finding 20 rupees after dropping in past the Hobo Guard.
Oh, money is life in this mode, so every little bit helps.
Yeah, Check's doing all the tree pulls here, trying to get all the early rupees. Tadaru's sitting on a nice 271 after doing the Houlihan, though.
Yeah, definitely have to say that early Houlihan play sets you up to succeed fairly well in the early game. Especially with the added stake in rupees. Just
Check.
Our vanilla fortune teller, go ahead.
Yeah, Check's just not having any locations with this one of Check's trying to find this take any so far.
Alright, and we'll start heading through Kakariko Village, as is the usual.
We'll see what the thieves have managed to steal themselves today.
Nice cache of rupees, some bombs, a little extra 20, and we have our first small key. Now they are no longer locked to their dungeons. And a really early Moon Pearl.
Yeah, that's nice to see. It's, again, always one of your pieces of the Dark World puzzle, but early Moon Pearl allows for a bunch of other things. We can get some fake flipper action going on if we don't find the flipper soon. A bunch of other nice little just peace of mind items.
Absolutely. Finding the Moon Pearl early always brings a sense of relief, I always feel.
Answering chat, yeah, the second icon being Link, it just indicates open mode.
Yep, to go through the icons on the top of the screen for you. The first one means that this is an all dungeons requirement. Link meaning open mode, and there's our first randomized sword and our first glove upgrade in the Kakariko Well. The randomized sword indicated by that question mark looking sword. The H for hard mode, and the Zelda 1 sprite for retro.
Yeah, also finding a second 300 pack. That's really nice. Gonna be able to, stock up early on keys if needed.
And that bottle vendor hurts a little more than usual. 5% cash back, not great in retro.
Yeah, so we're getting a little bit of stink here with our runners, checking all the different houses here in Kakariko, looking for a Take Any Cave, and sure enough, finding one right here in the tall grass house.
Alright, and that's one of our either potion fills or heart containers, which you're pretty much always going to take that heart container until we get to the real late stages, but with hard mode, you're going to take every heart you can get your hand on.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to take those heart containers all day in hard mode. Alright, Tadaru heading into the Thieves' Hideout, going to pick up his Boon Pearl as well as his first 300 stack.
Head into our chicken hut here to see what they've been holding on to. But to answer questions in chat about hard mode, all 4 swords are out there to be found. However, the highest you can hold on to is the tempered. There's only one. Both male upgrades are out in the item pool, but you'll only be able to wear one. And 6 hearts have been removed from the maximum health.
Yeah, there's being 5 containers and 4 heart pieces. In addition, potions are only going to restore 7 hearts and half a meter of magic. Burner no longer makes you invincible, and you get double magic usage on the cave outside of Spike Cave, Laser Bridge, and the Spike Room inside of Mire.
The places where invincibility would be required, it does not have the nerfs applied.
Yeah, Burner still has the damage component, but the fact that you have to hug to use the damage on it makes it almost a null and void fact.
It just makes it so it's just a constant ring of fighter sword damage spinning around you. Gonna go see what is on the race game.
Ooh, that's not something you want to see. I don't want to see a lamp. No lamp now.
Nope, that's 2 of the 4 parts of what could send us to Aga 1 and unlock that early key we saw, though we would need the boots to grab that key from the lumberjacks.
Yeah, Chex was really debating skipping that cave, but then figured with only having the first of the glove upgrades, still needing either a second or a hammer, you might as well just be safe than sorry.
Absolutely. When you see a major requirement for something you may not want to do available, it's always good to keep that in mind. I definitely lean on the better safe than sorry mode of thinking when it comes to randomizer.
So Chex is going to head over here and check the back of Escape. Pretty good option, right off your save, quit and sank.
Hopefully they'll be holding on to something for us, something to keep us away from Aga 1. But still quite a bit of the world to check yet. We haven't seen South Shore, and there's the Titans Mitts, so we won't have to visit Aga quite yet.
Yeah, Aga 1's not fully off the table needing to clear for all dungeons, but that's definitely our Dark World access.
Brings peace of mind to our runners as Chex is heading over to the east side of the Light World. Gonna see if we have another... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just see if we have another Take Any, and nope, just a fortune teller.
Yeah, he's gonna be checking all of his one-of caves here as he heads over, I would assume, probably to Shaz's coat closet as well as Eastern.
And there we have one of our first retro mode shops, and going ahead and buying his wooden arrow.
Yeah, grabbing himself a key, grabbing his arrows, get that out of the way.
As soon as you find it, it's best to get it taken care of.
Yeah, now he's gonna double back, get his South Shore checks done. Definitely not a bad idea, especially with just the sheer amount of single caves. Like,
there's
another Take Any.
Yep, in the Light World Hype Cave. So far, not a whole lot to be seen aside from an early Dark World axe. And we at least have the ability to fight things with a sword.
Yeah, having just the early sword is really good, especially in randomized. You see a lot of times where you don't get a sword forever, and in hard mode that can be really rough. That's why a lot of the hard mode seeds you've been seeing run are Uncle Assured, just so our runners do have that peace of mind. They know where one sword is.
Yep, and with this being retro mode, one of our swords is hidden in a cave somewhere. It's on its own.
Unless it's the last sword, and then it's going to be the saddest 5 rupees you've ever seen.
Oh, absolutely. It's dangerous to go alone. Have $5.
Now, Check's a little more incentivized to come over here, thanks to his gloves and the retro mode, just to come over here and check for not only the cave for the take any, but there's also a little bit of money as well.
Gotta love those little rupee farms.
Tadaru pretty much
fountain.
Yeah, just a full fairy fountain there. Tadaru basically right behind him here, checking these singles as well as heading over toward Agna.
Interesting to see the sync still 11 minutes in. A little divergence in the beginning, all combining here to go running through the desert, hoping our desert cowboy has something interesting for us. And just $5.
Speaking of interesting, we have a mail upgrade on the desert ledge.
Definitely something we will keep in mind. But as we can't get our way into the desert quite yet, it'll sit there getting warm. I'll finally head into the east side of South Shore for checks. See what our mini Moldorms are hiding from us today.
Poor Moldorm getting stuck at the top of the cave.
It always seems to happen when you're just not wanting to deal with it. $5, $50, a heart, 20, and 50. Lots of money and a little extra love. Can't complain.
Yeah, got you a heart container, gonna pay off 1 key. It's something.
At least in retro mode, these extra rupee drops don't amount to just absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's just gonna be there's so many of them in the pool. Not only, again, retro, not only are all of your, 15 of your keys replaced by blue rupees, every one of the arrow packs in the pool is also replaced by blue rupees.
Definitely the value decreased from 10 arrows down to 1. One of the few times you get to see all 3 of these caves emptied as we find yet another take any. We're almost out of these.
Yeah, that's a lot of really early safety and hearts for these guys.
And I'd like to thank Stigma of the Rose for that Tier 1 sub. Thank you so much for supporting Speed Gaming.
Check's finding a frozen key in the Ice Rod Cave.
With the Take Any caves, you cannot get Butter Sword. It's still limited. You'll find that sword turned into $5.
Check's doubling back. Looks like we're going to see some fake flipper action.
Seeing as we have not seen much in the lines of progression outside of those that west side Dark World access, it doesn't seem like the worst play. Though definitely heading up towards Zora feels pretty bad if he has nothing, as the 500 rupee cost is even more significant in retro mode. And our hobo has for us today a net.
Yeah, Yeah, just some net out thieves out there to catch the food. So, striking out a hobo, and again, without flip, this is all out of logic. I mean, Eastern's pretty much your play here, it looks like. Unless, of course, the Dark World is open for Chex, but for Tadaru, he's needs to get in the back of Escape.
One would hope he gets up to there soon, as Chex is going to head up toward the Waterfall of Wishing.
Yeah, he can at least get his, thanks to his Moon Pearl, he can at least get his checks on the Waterfall Ferry, as well as a couple of checks in on, if he wants Zora, but at least the Zora Ledge.
It's tough to want to commit to that out of logic, but oh, has he sequence broken himself something?
Oh, he has a hammer. That's a lot of good information, as well as, a lot more easy access to the Dark World.
Definitely has, the world is definitely his oyster, as we see 5 rupees on the ledge, and it looks like he may be committing to Zora.
It's not a bad idea at this point. You've got a lot of full access now to the Dark World with the hammer. Money should come a little bit easier now.
Yeah, we don't even have the bow to worry about using those rupees as ammunition yet.
Exactly. Just a significant scam there.
You definitely got fleeced for most of your earnings there, as Tadaru is going to make our check onto the Eastern Palace side of things.
And Check's going to head straight into the Dark World, probably right over to Hype.
Seems like the best play to me with that hammer, though most of that difficult from a logic standpoint, but not unreachable.
We got Ether in the coat closet.
Could come in handy depending on what our medallion requirements are. We will have to see both dungeons regardless if they are pendant or a crystal.
Alright, let's see if we're hyper-tripe today.
So far, setting us up pretty small. Now, the boots adds a bit of hype to that. Maybe a 4, depending on how things are laid out.
Yeah, definitely. At least you got your movement. You got your fast movement around the world. That's at least just gonna clean everything up.
It makes you not have to think about how desert is going to be laid out.
Yeah, worry about having to double do the torches.
Our little default fairy fountain there, as we're going to head over toward our friend Stumpy.
Yeah, Tadaru striking out. First chest of Eastern just being the compass.
Still a few more checks to make. Our friend Stumpy just gives us a little bit of love as we turn him into a tree.
Thankfully, it fills up a heart container, and Check's already having the Titans is going to be able to come into Village of Outcast from the south, which just cleans everything up so nicely.
Definitely bends you in the right direction. I don't believe that one gets randomized.
Yeah, I think it's one of the few that doesn't.
Alright, and how many digs are we going to have to bear through today?
21.
$11 for the fire rod.
Yeah, that's nice.
Taking a few extra digs to get a little bit more ammunition down the road. Our next check for Tadaru is the burrito.
Yeah, that's not playing out so well now. See what the hint is. Some cash and a unique item requires a big red bomb. Something's in Pyramid Fairy. Whether it's useful or not remains to be seen.
Definitely be something that'll be weighing on the mind, and we already know where one of those 5-6 crystals is in Eastern Palace. However, we cannot complete it until we find our friend the bow.
Yeah, and Tadaru's only got one item coming up here. The big key's going to be the vanilla, and then he'll find something in the big chest, and the last item is buried in on the Armos.
Curious to see what it holds on for us. as we head in toward the chess game for Chexhuman. A heart refill and a heart container. Looks like we should be seeing our dip into Thieves Town now. Looks like we got Tadaru setting up a death warp.
Yeah, he's gonna take a death warp, it seems. I'm not sure about taking a death warp here rather than just doing a save quit.
Seems odd to take that extra damage for any other reason.
And just a piece of heart. Sure enough, he's gonna take a death warp here.
I wonder why.
Oh, he's gonna probably come out of here and go south to the cave by the portal and check it for a take any.
Ah. So far, not a whole lot in Thieves Town yet. And still not a lot. But he does have that hammer, so he will be able to see what is on the big chest. It looks like it's setting itself up for.
Yeah, he's got that hammer, which is gonna at least unlock that. The only thing that we know can't be in there is pretty much just the flippers. Check's coming straight to the back, deciding he's just gonna pick that key up before he kills Blind.
Seems like a smart play to me.
Tadaru save quit to Sanctuary. It looks very much like he's about to find his Titan's Mitts.
And probably one of my favorite hints is where anything requires a bomb. Happy to find his Titan's Mitts there.
Yeah, that's going to give him his Dark World access. Unfortunately, with no sequence break for the hammer, he's going to be really needing to find the flippers next.
Oh, and Chex just barely missing that bomb to light up Blind's room. Curious to see where Tadaru heads next. Looks like he's probably heading toward the Village of Outcasts in the Dark World.
Yeah, he's gonna be heading over here, taking the long way, taking the short way rather to the portal. The question is gonna be whether he's gonna go up to Skull or come down to Thieves first. The best option we know because of the fire rod placement would be to come down and get like Digging Game out of the way before he dips at the Skullwoods rather.
And then we finally have our map check with the other 5-6 crystal being Thieves Town.
And our pendants being Pod, Ice, and TR, with TR being green.
Being that it's all dungeons, it's not the worst. However, it doesn't leave much left to be sitting potentially on the pedestal. The big thing jumping up in my mind leaving with that would be maybe if we have the flute sitting there.
Yeah, there's not much that could really be on there, is there? Just flute, maybe Myers medallion.
Alright, and here comes our scripted blind fight from Chexhuman.
Yeah, one of those things where if you can stay on script, this is just never a threat, and this is one of the easiest fights. And the fact that the level 1 sword doesn't make a difference, it makes it one of the great first dungeons you can clear.
Absolutely. Blind is one of the more interestingly programmed bosses, as it takes damage from a certain number of items, and it's the same no matter what. 9 hits. And there we are, 24 minutes in, and Chexhuman picking up our first crystal. Tadaru should not be far behind. Looks like Chex has decided to leave that big chest for now.
No, Chex checks the big chest. He got 300 out of it.
No. Not the worst deal on that.
Nah. Jex is coming up here. He's going to check for another take any and then go straight up the skull, yeah. Oh, Tadaru unfortunately taking a death there.
It doesn't look like that one. That one was that intentional? Oh, maybe it was.
No, it was intentional. He hugged.
All right, so deciding not to go deep into Thieves Town. We know not the worst way because we know there's not much there, but
yeah, it's not much there. You don't need to worry about it. He's going to look out for it rather offhand.
Interesting of Chex choosing to use a key here when it was not required.
Well, what I imagine you might see here, because of where he dropped down or where he came in, is he's going to come in here to the trap room, pick up the key, and take an intentional death.
Basically getting himself a free refund. Unfortunately, the Wallmaster has different plans for him. To answer questions in chat, no, this is not Key Sanity. This is Retro Mode, which some people call, like, Key Sanity Light.
Alright, so a couple questions in chat while we're checking a couple of other checks here. Retro basically turns this into a glorified version of Zelda 1. Keys are no longer bound to a small keys are no longer bound to a dungeon. There's less of them in the pool. There are take any caves like you'd see in Zelda 1. Blue rupee in the vanilla big key chest. It just basically turns it into Z1 and Link to the Past.
Definitely opens up some different scenarios as Tadaru will dig up his fire rod. Chex deciding to go back into the deeper part of Skullwoods. With his fire rod in hand, we'd imagine he's maybe heading straight for the Moth.
Yeah, he's going to be headed straight into Mothula here. A little bit risky with what he has available. He's not going to have much fire, or not much magic left, rather. Words are hard. And he's still on green mail.
Well, I may be confident on what he has for the Moth. Definitely think at the level that he's at, you would be confident.
Yeah. So, Tadaru going backwards here, he's going to end up coming over and checking his hype cave and getting his boots.
And taking the Death Warp to get back to the entrance to that. Head back toward our friend the Moth. Choosing to go the full route to get the refills. And there's the boots for Tadaru.
Depending on what's on Mothula here, are the flippers in the front part of Escape, like on the way to Zelda Cell?
That's definitely a scenario. That those flippers are definitely something we're looking to find to put Chex's hammer back into logic.
Yeah, with Tadaru having checked everything else, well, the boots do unlock some things, so maybe it could be in King's Tomb, maybe it could be in Balkrox.
And here we go, Chexhuman diving in with half magic going for the Fighter Sword Mothula. Just Fisher-Price first shield from the King's Tomb. I decided to pull out the hammer for the last few hits on the Moth.
Really nice Moth fight.
Very clean, all things considered, to find the big key. And his second crystal. And not a whole lot from our other boots locked location.
Yeah, so right now we're suffering from a lack of lamp and a lack of flippers that are locking the hammer.
We have the front of Escape left unchecked, as well as this big chest. Trying to think if there's any other locations we have not seen that could be potentially holding those flippers.
Well, the lantern will open up a lot up on Death Mountain. but it's really just something to put Chex back in the logic here.
It looks like he's going for that bomb jump across. Easily done.
There they are.
There's our answer. Now Chexhuman is back on the logic track.
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate place for those flippers, though. It's turning this into a much linear seed than first anticipated.
And given there were not many locations, remembering that Chex found the hammer in the waterfall fairy after fake flippering. Not seeing a whole lot up on Pumper Cave, so far that cape we went through the race game for, not showing much value.
So at this point, looks like our obvious play is going to be heading over to either Pyramid Ledge Catfish or just in the pod itself, along with the checks here for the Blacksmith Chain.
None of that, but it does bring that Blue Pendant Ice Palace into completable territory.
Yeah, it does. Because of the retro mode logic and the availability of keys, you're not going to need the extra keys for the right-hand side.
It looks like we're going to start Jeremiah's world tour here.
Yeah, Nomir makes this kind of a hassle to get all these checks done, so he's going to take the bullfrog out to see all his friends and buddies.
That is, if the enemies decide to let him. Alright, it's time for our adventure up the pyramid.
Seems you can never dash through Dark World without hitting one of those skulls.
Just a $5 there. Onward up, probably toward Catfish.
Yeah, he's gonna get Catfish out of the way, followed by his safe quit to deliver the Blacksmith. Not a bad play, getting all that out of the way, rather than risking dipping pod and it being bow locked.
Absolutely agree on that. Now, looking at what the information we have here, we have that unique item in the Pyramid Fairy hint, making things interesting. We already have half of that 5-6 crystal puzzle, the other one being locked behind the bow. Definitely going to be our crux, or the real end of the seed. The bow, of course, always being a required item, gains a lot more value in Retro.
Yeah, Retro all dungeons, regardless of how much it's going to cost you, having the ability to shoot with that bow is always just a good thing to fall back on.
Locking a lot of potential. There's a few really key items that could be locked in there. Just looking at it, I'm seeing Ice Rod, Cane, hook shots. Just a lot could be on that hint, or it could be a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, Check's buying a lot of keys here. Depending on how many more times he goes in here is going to really tell on where he wants to go next.
And we have a really clean moth fight from Tadaru there. He will be picking up his big key to hopefully lead him to the flippers immediately, and his first crystal. And instead of choosing to save and quit, he's going to go through the Whirlpool portal there and head south.
Yeah, he's going to check the Dark World shopping mall for take any's. Plus, I think the hint here is going to be vanilla. If you can come in here with the Blacksmith, I'm not sure.
As if that enemy decides to let him in.
Yeah, he's having a little trouble there with that. Oh, we found the sword take any.
It's dangerous alone. Take the Sword of Evil's Bane. Alright, it seems that we have all of our Take Any caves already found.
Yeah,
Chat
it's really... Go ahead.
Chat bringing up the point where the Jeremiah will pretty much go anywhere aside from dungeons. You'd have to drop in with a dungeon to get him in there, but the purple chest is definitely a more fickle companion.
Yeah, I find a lot of my problems with Jeremiah comes from entrance rando, which kind of just makes everything a little nuts anyway.
Something I don't think I'm anywhere near ready to attempt.
Check's picking up his dinner plate. Tadaru about to get his flippers after he clears out the rest of this.
And Check's being disappointed with this other boost lock location here momentarily. Should hopefully be taking Jeremiah home finally after that long marathon across the world.
Let's see if Tadaru makes the same play here and tries to get that key, but is able to avoid the Wall Master. Nope, he's just going to take a Death Warp.
Alright, he's out of there. Right, so what has Jeremiah been giving us for a reward for dragging him all over the places he didn't want to go? And
Vanilla Sword.
Gotta love seeing that tempered. That's the last sword that we are going to see in this seed. Somewhere there's a fourth one out there, but we won't know what it is. Unless of course, Tadaru finds it first.
Yeah, if Tadaru finds it, we might find that fourth sword somewhere, but we know we're now for the, 3 of the 4 swords were.
And being that this is hard mode, that is the last one that our runners will be able to obtain is the tempered. And Chad bringing up a point. It's not often you see back-to-back swords on checks.
Yeah, that's really uncommon seeing 2 swords that quickly in the pool, although they were separated, pretty well geographically at least.
And part of one of those being one of the extra little wrinkles from retro mode is we're going to finally see the front side of Escape and what it's been holding on to this entire time. Interesting from checks, you don't see people going up the right hallway very often. And as we make our way through some of the easier portions, don't forget to give our runners a follow. They're putting themselves out there for your entertainment, especially at this late hour. So please, show them lots of love and support.
Absolutely. They got some really good routing going on so far, just basically in each other's footsteps. It's almost, blow for blow here.
Definitely putting on a clinic when it comes to routing. And just a reminder of the standings, Chexhuman is 5-4 in his races, Tadaru only being 2-2 with a few less races done. Each competitor has to complete 15, 3 against each other competitor in the pool. As we see, not a whole lot through Zelda's cell. It looks like Chexhuman is blasting off again.
Yeah, better to take the ID than try to run all the way back.
It's not often you see that tree NPC in Randomizer. And Tadaru is still poking around for those any caves, take any caves, even though we know where the last two are.
Yeah, he needs to head over and check his flipper checks, but he may end up going to pod first.
It looks like he may be dipping south toward where we know that other sword is.
And then he's gonna check this chest here, but... Or not chest, but cave, rather. Not gonna find anything.
Fortunately not. Hopefully he makes his flippers checks before he heads toward pod, but it doesn't look like that's where he's going.
Even if he checks pod, as long as it's bow locked, he's okay.
And not a whole lot in escape. As he takes a slow rope hug, Kiki the Monkey lets us into the Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, and outside of keys now, I think that's going to be Tadaru's... Actually, no, Tadaru has not checked Zora either, so... Zora and keys is about the last thing he needs to spend money on.
And it looks like with all those early swords, Chex is deciding to check the 2 locations in Aga 1. Interesting choice to get this in now, but he's already at the castle tower, so I don't think there's any better time unless he was just going to commit to full clearing. Really nice setup to be on the spawn location of the chest as the enemy falls.
Yeah, now this is going to be a little bit of bravery here. These dark rooms are not the easiest.
Thankfully they do have a torch or two hidden in, at least in the maze portion. Nothing but bombs in the first chest, and he's going to dip out.
Yeah, I don't really blame him. The dark rooms in there are not easy. They're doable, especially with the fire rod, because the 2 hard ones, the dark maze there and the pit room, both have torches in them.
Absolutely, Star is going to head toward the Vanilla Big Key location in pod. Chex looks like he's finally making his way toward Eastern.
Yeah, he's going to check rather Shasrala's coat closet here, as well as probably the chest at Eastern. Not going to find anything out of it, though.
He will find his lightning coin, which we don't know if we need or not yet. Tadaru finds his way deeper into the Palace of Darkness. And just to add some more retro flavor, the 10th enemy has the bomb. It looks like he's taking a death warp. And it looks like he will be diving deeper into pod.
Yeah, he wants to try to find something. He knows he's really kind of just running down to the end of what he can check. He's probably hoping to find the hammer. Best/worst case, maybe he finds the bow.
I definitely think that finding the bow here would hurt him just a little bit. That would force him to make the double dip even harder.
At this point, it's already a double dip. You may as well get something out of it. Powder? Not the first thing you want to see, especially since powdering anti-fairies is only going to give you a heart due to hard mode.
And considering that the hammer is elsewhere to unlock that magic bat. And we have not seen any sign of the mirror just yet.
Yeah, not sure why Chex is going to go to an uncompletable Eastern over a completable Ice.
Probably just avoiding Ice Palace until necessary. Not the favorite of most runners.
But I can't say I 100% blame Chex. With the item layout you have, that I would have that nagging that maybe I've missed something in Eastern to go with it, because you don't have a flute, a lamp, or a mirror to allow for easy access to a lot of these extra checks.
Definitely cannot disagree there, as he will see his unique item in the Pyramid Fairy hint. with Eastern itself being one of those 5-6 crystals.
And the other one already completed in Thieves Town.
The bow is holding whatever unique item is in that Pyramid Fairy. As we make our way through the darkness, just some fireballs and sword sparks to see.
Check's making it through the Eastern Dark Room. Is going to grab his vanilla big key here as Tadaru's trying to grab whatever's in these last couple chests.
Nice. What have we here? Another key. Not a whole lot here in Pod.
Yeah, so unfortunately with everything that we now know, it looks like that the play is you need to go get your hammer, and from there you're going to need to go pretty much right into ice.
Definitely not the ideal thing you're going to want to see from one of these runners' standpoint.
Looks like Zadara is going to clear out the front of Escape as Chex is walking out of Eastern. I can only assume.
He's probably going to go check that cave that Tadaru checked earlier and then maybe jump into the lake. Or he's going to go to Pod.
He's going straight to Pod.
He'll be inside to find out. There's not a whole lot for him there. Definitely just want to avoid Ice Palace until we absolutely need it.
Yeah, he can't even... They don't even have a bottle yet where they can potion glitch the Bowlock side.
Interesting to be 47 minutes in and still have not found one of our first bottles, but there's still a lot of our item-dense dungeons left untouched.
As well as super item-dense Death Mountain that we haven't got to look at yet.
I haven't even really found a way to... Even if we were to sequence break through the Old Man, that still only opens up just one or maybe even two more locations.
Yeah, the Old Man and inside of Spectacle Rock, that's really your only options.
And even with the hint tile there, it doesn't guarantee any value at all.
Maybe with full magic and this many hearts, you might be able to get through Spike Cave, but it would be iffy.
I don't think that would be a sequence break I'd be willing to commit to at this point. And Tadaru taking his Death Warp out of the Escape, disappointed with what little he had found there.
Yeah, just some more money, unfortunately. So he's going to go back here and check the Dark Cross and Escape and be disappointed with just a little bit of money from it as well.
So runners are going to be running through some recursive checks before they realize that it looks like it's time to play in the ice. And to answer some of the questions in chat about the differences in hard mode, powdering those anti-fairies with that powder we found will only grant a single heart.
Yeah,
as well as some of the other safeties removed.
Yeah, well, we've got everybody going back over things that have already been checked. Once again, this is all dungeons. This is randomized swords, so the 4 swords are, you don't know where. We found 1 in Kakariko, 1 in the Take Any in the Dark World shopping mall, and 1 is vanilla on the Smiths, as Tadaru picks up his 5 rupees. Other hard mode changes include, while everything's still in the pool, you can only get 1 mail upgrade maximum, 2 shields maximum, 3 swords maximum. The silver arrows are only effective in Ganon's room. Potions only restore 7 hearts as well as half a meter of magic. And the safeties have been decreased overall. Burner no longer gives invincibility, double magic on your cave. Chex picks up his powder and pod and heads into the dark basement.
It looks like Tadaru is finally getting his flipper checks on to find his bug net, and eventually his hammer. Finds his big key as the lights go out.
Yeah, with the dramatic darkness setting in, Tadaru's gonna grab his bug net from the hobo, rather.
Or perhaps it's his fishing net. It's hard to tell. It can't catch fairies, so it's not much of a use of a net. Another one of those hard mode changes, taking out a lot of safety. It looks like we have checks setting up for the hammer yum. No. Yeah.
Anything to save a key.
Cannot blame him one bit. As 100 rupee per key gets to be pretty expensive. Though it definitely has not been a poverty seed. So you found a lot of those 300s, 100s, and 50s pretty early on, and there's Tadaru's hammer.
And get the hammer and a key. Yeah, we found 300 packs, the 100 pack, and a bunch of 50s so far.
Tadaru will head up to Zora and be very disappointed with his investment.
Yes, but after this, just like Chexhuman, this will eliminate the last possibility of a non-key or bow money he needs for the remainder of the seed.
Absolutely. Alright, and Chexhuman deciding what he's going to do, finding out nothing in pod, and noping out, hopefully heading toward the Ice Palace, which seems to be our last available play.
Tadaru's save quits out to his house, checks to the Sanctuary. Is Chex gonna sequence break up Death Mountain here?
Looks like that's where he's setting up for.
So, no, he's headed back to the Dark World.
He's got
hammer pegs and purple chest.
Yeah, hammer pegs and purple chest, and then head over to Ice Palace. Just
but,
a little bit
but he's gonna check the bat first, though.
Alright, dropping down. This is the back cave. It looks like we overlooked finding the Quake Medallion in the dark rooms of Palace of Darkness. Alright, and what is the magic bat going to curse us with today? That's definitely feels like a bit of a curse.
Yeah, he's got Brian. I mean, it'll make getting through Spike Cave easier, but that's about it.
And with this being hard mode, the Cane of Burna no longer grants invincibility. It will do a circle of fighter sword damage, though in rooms where invincibility is required, it will function as normal. We have Tadaru swimming over toward where Ice Palace is.
He's gonna go check the shopping mall. So he's gonna pick up his last take any heart as well as his second sword.
And he'll definitely feel good going that before he heads into Ice Palace. The difference in damage will be very helpful. As Chex goes over to pick up Gary's lunchbox. I have to say there are very few things more satisfying in Link to the Past Randomizer than hammer dashing through the hammer pegs.
Oh yeah, it's definitely up there. That and killing all the wizards in one Samaria block.
Absolutely. As Tadaru finds his Master Sword in the Take Any cave and his final heart container from a Take Any. Chexhuman will save and quit with the lunchbox and take it to Gary. Hoping here to find in the lunchbox something that'll steer him away from Ice Palace, or maybe something to make it easier, like the hook shot.
No, if you get the hook shot, I think you definitely sequence break up Death Mountain.
Alright, we'll see.
But anything else, and you definitely, yeah, you're going to ice now. There's nothing left at all. I think Tadaru's just come to that realization, and Chex is, nope, he's going back to Sang.
Interesting choice. What has he left unchecked aside from sequence-breaking Death Mountain? And it looks like Tadaru may be setting up his key shopping spree. It looks like we're gonna go visit our old man in the dark.
Yeah, Chex is just absolutely doing everything he can not to go to ice here.
I think that many other players would not blame him for this play at all. So the chances of this giving him something that's worthwhile are pretty slim.
Yeah, the absolute best case scenario here is maybe you get a vanilla mirror. Or a hook shot. But even in that case, then you know it's either lamp locked or flute locked. Alright, so Tadaru's the first one taking the bait and heading into Ice Palace.
So far, just a heart container from our friendly old man. Let's see what Spectacle Rock Cave holds for us. Some cash requires the hammer. Thanks. Good to know. Though the requires the hammer hint is one of the more interesting ones out there, as the hints currently have to work for all modes. It doesn't work for the things you would think it would. For example, Turtle Rock is 100% is not considered hammer locked as far as the hints go. And here we've got another child check. And some green text. It looks like Chex is finally going to make his way toward Ice Palace.
Nope. He's going to check Spike Cave.
Interesting choice of a sequence break. But having found the Cane of Burna and the Magic Cape, not the worst play. It's definitely pointing like there could be something in there.
And here we see that Brian still works in this cave because it is part of the logic.
A unique item requires a bomb. Pretty sure we've already seen that in some facet.
Yeah, at least the Moon Pearl.
Looks like Chex is going to ponder his options for a moment on the map.
More like Chex is looking at his map saying, is this really what I have to do?
And unfortunately, Chex, yes, this is what you have to do.
Yeah, we know our progression's in here somewhere.
So what do you think our progression is going to be?
At this point, it's hookshot. I'd be safe to say it's hookshot.
Now, part of me says, what if it's a fetch quest that leads to the hookshot, or a fetch quest to the book, and then the hookshot's in desert?
Tadaru having some serious problems. He might have to... Ooh.
We have not found anybody decided to disregard trying to do the bomb jump here.
Thanks to it being retro, this isn't a bad idea because you will always be able to do a vanilla. Actually, it would require possibly require bomb jumps still that way, but it's just so long to do it like actual vanilla intended.
Oh, and that looked like he maybe should have gotten hit by that gel. That was really close. Big difference in clearing these two dungeons, as Chex is already untempered, but Tadaru is still sitting on that master dish. He has not taken the smith home to pick up that vanilla bacon sword.
Yeah, he's going to need a lot more spins, especially when it comes down to Cold Stare.
Interesting, deciding to go right. As he hasn't picked up that cane from the magic bat. It's a little more expensive for him. Just seems to be a lot of one small bit of item behind Chex.
Yeah, he doesn't have the level of comfort that Chex has in his items, but he may have a little lead on progression depending on if he can find something over here on this side.
Small key there. We'll head toward the vanilla big key chest and see what they're holding on to. To get a really nice clean spin strat.
Yeah,
Pen gator.
Good.
And then we find the big key in its vanilla location. And as Tadaru goes through, he is struggling to manage his resources well, but we'll see if he can manage to get through this and find what this dungeon's been holding on to get us further into this seed.
Oh, ran out of magic and took a death of the Freezor. Ooh.
He might have had enough to cast it, but I think it was a late press. It looks like he's gonna have to go find some magic refill somewhere. Definitely showing the item disparity maybe coming into play there. Definitely had a harder time in the pen gator rooms.
Yeah, Chex is already caught up to right to where Tadaru was.
What has this dungeon been holding on to? 5 rupees there, and we'll see what is in the vanilla big key location. Or the big chest, excuse me, and he's deciding to jump past it.
Yeah, he wants to come check the iced tea room first, as well as the third hint.
Some cash is held with the fishes. Well, we've already checked both fish.
Now that can refer to catfish or the dam item, right? Or Zora.
Yes, and also the waterfall fairy. Behind water, I think. I'll have to look at that hint again. I think I've got that pulled up.
So Tadaru's decided that he's going to go ahead and clean up Thieves Town, which he passed up earlier. Chex has got 2 more checks here left inside of ice, but unfortunately he may have a magic problem for one of them.
Okay, it looks like with the fishes just refers to either Zora or catfish. Underwater was the hint that leads to the other locations we mentioned.
Bo!
And that is our key item that unlocks the back end of Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace. So one of those two has our next key item. So we have not yet seen a mirror. It definitely puts the routing a little less ideal. Despawning that bunny beam and getting that nice refill. Chex will be heading in with the Tempered Sword into Cold Stare. Should not give him much trouble at all.
Yeah, it's all going to come on that first spin if he can land it.
Adding on to our early conversation, I'd say a Cold Stare quick kill feels pretty satisfying as well. Gets them nicely pinned into the corner, and they never even get a chance to leave. Well done by Chex.
Yeah, that was textbook.
And we'll pick up our blue pendant. Do you think he dips Pod or Eastern first?
I think he dips eastern in the event that because there's with only one item location left in pod, there's no guarantee you're going to get back over there.
Well, we have the 3 locations left in pod, as we did not have any way to
Bowlock.
get to the Bowlock side.
Yeah, I think you still check eastern first,
And
just in case.
And not only that, we do have that hint of the unique item in the 5-6 crystal for the Pyramid Fury, which Eastern is the other 5-6 crystal we do not already hold. Definitely both to be completed.
Check's going to be buying a couple more keys here. Probably enough to get him through the rest of, maybe not the game, but at least most of it.
Well, he's definitely sitting on quite the hoard of cash.
Yeah, and he's got nothing other than arrows to use it for.
We're picking up a couple, and he's heading toward it. Let's see which one he decides first, and it looks like it'll be Eastern.
Yeah, it'll be Eastern first. Just picked up enough to make sure he can finish up the end of pod. Or not.
He's gonna swerve us again, changing his mind. And as Tadaru goes in toward the blind fight. So far, staying on script. And 3 more hits, and blind will be down. Giving him a little bit of trouble, but down goes blind.
Good phase 1, good first 2 phases of that, but the last head transition, a little bit of trouble, but got through it.
Yep, and this gets him the full heart and magic refill. He will need to go back into Ice Palace and pick up his bow. Hopefully that bomb jump gives him a little bit less trouble.
Yeah.
So, with the way the dungeon's laid out, it may not be the worst play to just skip it entirely.
Tadaru may be picking up his Tempered Sword here.
Looks like as we're finally going to get to see what was hiding on the Bowlock side of pod. As we finally start to see that retro mode change, each one of these arrows is going to cost him 5 rupee.
Actually, it's 10.
Oh, 10?
Yep.
And there's the flute.
There's our Logical Death Mountain access.
Which did not unlock much. Though it does not leave much on the pedestal, potentially, except aside from maybe bombos. For those fans of the pedestal out there. Well, that flute does give us access to Meyer, but we cannot complete it yet until we find Kane. And here comes Tadaru being cursed with the wrong Kane.
Yeah, definitely striking out so far here. He got his Tempered, but other than that, he's going to quickly learn that his destiny does lie back inside of Ice Palace.
It's unfortunate that that inability to hit that bomb jump and some poor resource management led him out of the dungeon. Is going to put him significantly behind Chexhuman, barring some other kind of disaster. As Tadaru makes his way through the dark part of Palace of Darkness. Not having the most luck.
Thankfully, the next room will have a torch if he really gets in a little bit of a rough spot here.
It looks like he's going to go light it now. If those terrapins don't continue to give him trouble. Now, he won't be able to light it a second time. Looks like it'll stay on just long enough for him to get through.
Let's get a little close for comfort here.
Now, only 3 hearts heading into King Helmasaur, and we have not picked up a male upgrade, though we know one of them is on the desert ledge.
Oh.
Alright, we're going in single heart into the Helmasaur King fight. Probably practice more times than he can count, so this should be okay, but those fireballs are pretty threatening.
Yeah, this is one where you play it very safe, and if he fireballs, you just sit right in the middle and wait for them all to go by.
He'll opt for firing some arrows into him as he advances the game frame by frame. Making sure he does not get hit, because any... Ooh!
Oh no!
Misses that spin, but gets the tail face, so he's just gonna go ahead and fire the arrows in. Really well executed, considering how little resources he had to work with.
Yeah, that was a great job on what I'm going to refer to as PowerPoint Trinex. Or not Trinex, but PowerPoint Helmasaur.
Not something you see very often, but well executed nonetheless. That's definitely something you do not see every time. And here comes Tadaru going back into Ice Palace to face his demons and freeze his way to the bow. And looks like Chex is going to go ahead and head over to activate his flute.
Yeah, that's going to clean up a lot of his overworld. I wonder if he's going to might check Mire area now before clearing out Eastern.
I would probably lean more towards heading toward Eastern, because that's the other 5-6 crystal we have that unlocks that unique item. And after a short playing of the Hyrulean National Anthem, we can finally say that the goose is loose.
Yes, indeed, our duck is amok, as Tadaru falling down to continue his second path through ice.
And it looks like he's going to head toward the Eastern and make use of that hint we found earlier. So what do you think our unique item in the Pyramid Fairy is going to be?
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the King of Samaria.
Part of me definitely leans toward that being a fetch quest item leading to something.
Tadaru gets his bomb jump, and now he's on his way.
Definitely has to be a feels-good moment for him, as he struggled the first time through.
Yeah, he's got a full magic meter, he's got, good hearts. He's got his tempered sword, he's in good shape now. Even getting a strike on his Pin Gator room.
Definitely feeling the improvement of picking up the tempered sword to come through this time.
Alright, Chex coming to the back of Eastern as Tadaru's in for his revenge on the Freezors.
Alright, we head back. I believe the Armorless Knight should still possibly be holding on to something.
Tadaru wasn't so happy with the 5 rupees, but he's probably feeling a little bit better now.
Really clean kill on the 2 red Igors there, as we should see a really quick and easy quick kill on our friends the Armos Knights.
You mean an expensive quick kill?
It is definitely not cheap. And he did miss one of them on there, but clean and easy. And there's our other 5/6 crystal to unlock the big boom. Looks like Tadaru trying to farm a little bit of extra health off of these Baris.
Check's not wanting to do the big bomb yet. It's going to come over here to check the mire shed as well as a requirement.
Alright, and what coin have we today? See it quite yet. And there's our desert access and the lamp. That definitely puts the logic in a really interesting state, as we see the Quake Medallion for Mire.
Yeah, that does do a lot of interesting things for logic, because that's a buried lamp. Tadaru working on this last puff.
Has to be careful, as a hug from that puff would send him back to the beginning. But
and he's got it! Alright, Check's opting as soon as he gets the book to quit out, go straight over to Desert. I can't help but think that not only it being clearable, but that mail upgrade may have played a small part in this decision.
Oh, absolutely. Being that he's been able to see that mail upgrade for so long and had to fight through so many of the not great places. But even though considering this is a hard mode seed, he is already at the maximum number of heart containers.
Yeah, but 14 hearts isn't reassuring when a Chain Chomp takes off 8.
Oh, absolutely. And finding the big key there. Having to hug the Beamos to pick up that 20 for another couple arrow shots.
Alright, looks like Tadaru's going to do the opposite. He's going to do Eastern into Pod.
Interesting choice on his part. It's not often you see a hard mode seed give you all the hearts so quickly, only being an hour and 17 minutes in.
Yeah, but that is affected a little bit due to take guineas.
Yeah, that definitely changes the logic of that a bit. So we were not locked. Well, now we know we will not have to go to Mimic Cave.
He knows this is the compass or map, right? Oh, no, it's not. Okay.
It's the one extra potential check with the key removal.
With the key removal, right. Yeah, 2 blue rupees doesn't feel good, but this blue he's about to pick up is going to feel great.
Along with that blue crystal he'll pick up a little bit later on to set him closer toward the end of the game. Tadaru makes his way back towards his very expensive Armos Knight fight. As Chexhuman makes his way back toward Land Molus.
Yeah, thankfully he's got a fire rod. This should be a pretty trivial fight for him, and won't have to spend any money on it.
Definitely feels good. I'd be curious to see where the silver arrows have been hiding this. Where the silver arrows will be hiding the seed. They're a lot more expensive as they would normally be. And Tadaru with a very clean Armos Knights. And Chexhuman with a very clean Land Molus. Crystals for both of our runners.
Yeah, Tadaru escaping from his Armos Knights for only 200 rupees. Chex had to burn a little bit more than that, but speaking of burning things, he doesn't have to waste any money as Fire Rod's down all 3 Land Molas in a super quick fashion.
Very cleanly executed. Alright, and heading back, it looks like he's choosing to dip into Misery Mire before checking that Pyramid Fairy item.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
He does put more leverage to the thought of that unique item being the King of Samaria.
Yeah, at this point, with the way Logic's gone, unless there's something in Mire here, like a Vanilla Cane or a hook shot here, it has to be in Pyramid Fairy, pretty much.
And with that medallion requirement, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that the pedestal could be to stop this seed. Suppose it could be holding the mirror.
Yeah, it could be the mirror. That's the only other thing I can think of.
Or if we really want to be mean to our runners, it could be holding a fetch quest item that leads to that mirror. Being all dungeons, it doesn't feel nearly as bad as if it was the Ganon Gold, but...
Never mind.
Rest in peace, pedestal, we hardly knew ye.
So that opens up all of our overworld mirror checks. That finally opens up Swamp, though it feels bad without the hook shot. We can finally get access to East Death Mountain at 1 hour and 20.
Yeah, head our way up to the Tower of Hera. Opening up some hint tiles.
Being 80 minutes in before you find access to East Death Mountain in any capacity is just so strange.
Definitely adds the weight to something being there, but it definitely if you're in Chexhuman's spot, you feel really good making this gamble, picking up both the last medallion that we would need to access a dungeon and the mirror. Low percentage play, but high payoff.
Yeah, and with finding that Bombos medallion now, if you're a fan of double dipping Ganon's Tower, I'm pretty sure that that's now gone out the window as well.
Cannot think of anything else that could create that scenario and keep it in the play.
No, we're Hookshot and Cane of Samaria and Ice Rod away. Well, it could be the Ice Rod still. I take that back. We could have Ice Rod and GT. Tadaru making his way through his dark basement of pod here.
Always gotta love stumbling through the dark.
And there's what's going to be our last shield upgrade for Chex.
Interesting to note that the lantern was available to Tadaru in the Mire shed. Would that be possible? Chat bring up a potential of the hookshot being on pedestal.
It is, yeah, it's possible. The hookshot could be on ped.
Interesting, a really convoluted way to get there, but the pedestal may still be in play. Alright, we'll head into the checkerboard cave.
Check's gonna pass up a heart container, won't do anything for him. Chex is gonna go check his mirror location. Thought he was gonna go up and do a big bomb for a minute. Tadaru finally gonna activate his flute.
Gonna take a moment to inventory of where our runners lie, and Chexhuman is going to see what is behind that hint we've been holding on to for so long with that big bomb. Tadaru is sitting a mire behind. How long will it take Tadaru to check that mire?
He's gonna do the couple checks up here in Death Mountain first, unfortunately, now that he's gotten the flute.
Tadaru leads our old man through the dark. What has our pyramid fairy been holding on? And the moment of truth, what will we find today?
It's a bloomerang!
Oh boy.
So, Tower of Hera.
Looks like that's the play.
No, it looks like Chex might do Aga 1 first.
Interesting choice to do that then.
Actually, I don't think it's that bad. It's going to give him a save quit point if he wants to go from the pyramid instead, which, while admittedly not the best idea, is still something. And he's already here.
Well, as he's already found himself in the location, there won't be a more convenient time to reach this location.
Except for after Aga 2. Tadaru is going to take his bomb of disappointment over. So while we have a minute here while they're going through, let's go ahead and give you a recap and rundown on how this happened. So Kakariko held the Moon Pearl, early glove, and a first sword, with the second glove upgrade being in the back of Escape. These items led you to find the Fire Rod, which was in the digging game, to find the big key for Skull Woods off of Mothula that led to the Flippers. The Flippers led to the hammer inside the Waterfall Cave, which would send you into Ice Palace to get the bow from the Ice Palace big chest. To unlock the Bowlock side of Pod, which had the flute, to lead you to Mire in order to get your mirror. Oh, Chex didn't check that Chex didn't get here the first time. That clue is huge.
I missed. Where did you say that King of Samaria was hiding?
Above the pose. It's in the graveyard ledge.
That's another huge find from that mirror dip, and it seems like that will put Chexhuman firmly in the lead for quite a while.
Yeah, so the hint here in Agnem's Tower was the Cane of Samaria is above the pose. Above the pose refers to north of the graveyard.
And that is a mirror-locked location, and the mirror was hiding in the non-completable Misery Mire.
Yes, this is a required double dip of Mire.
Definitely one of the more clutch hints I have seen. Hopefully Tadaru decides to, after checking the Mire shed, to head into Misery Mire, though he may go to Desert first after finding the lamp and book. Looks like he's heading toward the desert.
Can't blame him. It's a dungeon. In his mind, it's a dungeon I can clear.
One can only hope he heads to Meyer immediately after that, as Chexhuman isn't getting too bad of RNG with our friend Aghanim. I spoke too soon. And for those not familiar with Aga 1, the first one is always guaranteed to be reflectable, 2, 3, and 4. A 50-50 shot of being reflectable or blue balls. The fifth one always being lightning. And Tadaru will see the same boss RNG, barring a death.
Yeah, a death to Aga 1 is something you don't want to see at all.
Really slow fight there, but we are on our way. To answer your question is chat, yes, Chex is very much in the lead now with the information that he has. Even if Tadaru does make that next dip, that Cane of Samaria hint in Aga 1 that he may not check for a very long time is going to be huge.
Yeah, that's definitely, it's in the pool as one of those, you know, quote-unquote troll locations that you don't check super often, especially with the mirror being buried as far as it is.
Well, what does lend itself to a little bit of help is that that dip you make gives you the item, and your one's immediate thought might be, okay, now I've got this, I should check the mirror-locked locations.
Yeah, Chex is making a absolute beeline right for that cane.
And you cannot blame him at all, as that opens up a lot of this seed.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the play here is get the cane and go back into Mire and complete it, and then hit Death Mountain.
Looks like we may have an earlier dip into Turtle Rock and point us toward our last pendant, interestingly enough. And as this is an all-dungeon seed, they will have to do it. Turtle Rock, that is. It looks like you are right, Demon, as he's going to head and finish Mire.
Yeah, there's just the right play. You finish Mire here, you head up to Hera. That way, between the Chex and Hera, plus Spiral, plus Paradox, plus the first and hook shot and Super Bunny, you have so many chances to get the Ice Rod and just complete TR while you're up there.
And there is a lot of Death Mountain we have not yet seen, as no one has reached the east side of Death Mountain yet, as we only found our access to it about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's been the one unique thing about this seed is even though it's retro mode, it's still past that pretty much just a normal open seed, other than the key logics. And not having East Death World access, or East Death Mountain access for 80 minutes?
Definitely not something you see often. There's just so many things, so many locations that can lead to so much. Tadaru is making quick work of the Lenmola.
Yeah, that was a good Lamos fight. Unfortunately, nothing he really wanted to see here, so he's pretty much down at this point to, okay, I've got to dip something on, and then that something is Mire.
With the items there is not much else he could dip into.
And
grabs his flute and hopefully heads to 6.
Yeah, pretty much nothing else he can really check. That's the thing. The seed's been surprisingly linear.
And as Chexhuman is showing off our spooky action glitch, which I will not even try to explain, as I have no idea.
Before I started commentating this tournament, I wasn't even aware of it. I'm just still circumvents sorcery and witchcraft.
It is a recent find. It was actually discovered during this year's spring tournament. Chexhuman opting for the tempered sword strats and to pump a bunch of arrows into Vitreous himself. Down goes the eyeball, and onward we go to our next location, most likely Death Mountain.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, friends, retro mode teaches you can throw money at your problems and they will go away violently.
I don't even know how to respond to that. That was just too good.
Alright, so here comes the flute to 1. I'm been made a liar again.
Interesting choice. Unless he's gambling on...
Yeah, he is. Chex is putting on his... there must be lots of extra room in his pants because he's putting the gamble on Swamp.
He's definitely been the gambles, and so far they've paid off for him. So he may be thinking, maybe today's my day.
Oh no, he's going to Bombos.
Not the worst play. It's convenient to route in, and he did just find that mirror. Alright, and our tablet drops from the sky the silver arrows! That was a great check.
That's an amazing check. That location at this point was pretty well hard orphaned.
Tadaru does now find his mirror. And Check's going with the rupee farm, so he can probably buy an extra key or two. And now that we have the silver arrows, we can talk about how in hard mode they are not usable until we reach Ganon's room.
Yeah, you cannot switch to the silver arrows in hard mode unless you are in Ganon's room. They won't work outside of it.
And bringing attention to in chat someone posting clips that explains that spooky action glitch.
Alright, so checks with another flute to 4. Looks like he's gonna sure enough buy himself some extra keys here.
One cannot blame him before heading up toward Death Mountain's 2 dungeons.
Yeah, absolutely. He's gonna need minimum, what, 5?
And there's a not-so-helpful hint in that backside of Meyer telling us that he's going to find a piece of heart in Paradox Cave, though it won't be that when he gets to it, given his total heart count.
Yeah, so in order, better safe than sorry, Chuck should probably buy 5 keys here. 1 for Hera, 5 for TR in the event that he finds absolutely none on Death Mountain, which is pretty long odds.
Absolutely on that one.
He'll probably find some more keys, but then every other key he finds is just 1 more he doesn't need to worry about for Ganon's tower.
Alright, as Tadaru finishes cleaning up Misery Mire.
Yeah, he'll come across the same result that, you know, the Kane's not in here, but I got a mirror now. Oh.
Ooh, not quite. Has to go the long way around. Definitely been Tadaru's story today. Slight glitches in execution leading to time losses.
But don't let that take away. For what the logic's required here, this is still pretty good. He's still got a pretty good time going. Especially for a hard mode retro.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the logic has been sending you to the least pleasant-looking location before getting to you what you need. Bombos tablet dropping us some money. It looks like Chex is going to start with the Tower of Hera.
Yeah, 1 key, easily clearable. Plus, he won't have to come back over here after dealing with the just glut of items he has to check.
Some caches in the Dark Village. Good to know. And there's our big key to let us know that we may not have to go to the bottom quite yet.
The only other thing left in the pool is the compass. I think I would have went ahead and cleared the basement right there. Of course, I say that, and then the compass is going to be in the basement.
Compass could be in the basement. It may be better just to head straight up and hope you find your 2 items up top.
Tadaru is going to come straight up behind Chex here and start clearing out Hera.
One can only wonder how long it's going to take him to find that Kano Sumaria above the pose.
It's going to be a while.
Till the seed absolutely points him toward Turtle Rock. But we're still looking for that ice rod out there somewhere.
To answer a question in chat, retro mode basically turns all keys into Zelda 1 variants. They're no longer specifically locked to a dungeon, so you can just collect as many as you want and use them in any dungeon.
And at 100 rupees a pop.
Yeah, and the fact that we take a bunch of keys out of the pool, so you do have to end up buying them and watching your key count.
And there's the compass, so we will be heading down for a coffee break.
Yes, the compass, the map, and the big key are still locked to their own dungeons.
It's not full-on key sanity yet. And choosing to walk away from it.
As long as it's not the ice rod or the hook shot, he's fine.
Definitely be a location that may sit in the back of his mind for quite a while if we cannot find the ice rod or the hook shot or something to point, which are the only 2 real items.
So the hook shot is on top of the floating island, so you gotta go through Hookshot Cave to get the hook shot.
Alright. So leaves the potential to leave that ice rod down in the bottom, and unfortunately, chat, I think that puts the end to the pedestal once and for all.
Yeah, the pedestal is now officially off of life support and dead. The only other thing that we're looking for now is the ice rod. The ice rod could still theoretically be in GT trolling us. Oh, Tadaru unfortunately taking a spill. He's gonna go back down to the floor 1.
Alright, as we're finally seeing the glut of items on the east side of Death Mountain, will our ice rod be in one of these many, many chests? Daru continuing his ascent as Chex will dip into the Dark World Death Mountain.
Yeah, he's going to check himself back up here through Super Bunny and into Hookshot, then grab his Hookshot itself. Tadaru looks like he's going to go vanilla strategy on the big chest here. Trying to be nice here with the problems we've had and some of the execution on the glitches so far, so it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, definitely go for the safety shot when it just may not seem to be your night mentally. Though all things considered, he has recovered quite nicely.
We have our first bottle. Sick Kid's finally on the table at 104 minutes.
Isn't that something? Alright, and we're going to head into Hookshot Cave to mirror to where our hookshot is, and then go back in and clear it as Tadaru gets smacked away by Trolldorm. Probably one of my favorite interactions there.
Yeah, getting bounced back up onto the platform is just such a bad feeling.
Alright, and there's crystal for Tadaru. And boing boing, there's the hook shot.
Yeah, now Chex is on his way. He's got 4 more chests to check in here now.
Still looking for ever-elusive ice rod, which could be hiding in Ganon's tower yet. Because as this is an all-dungeon seed, we do have to complete Turtle Rock despite it only being dependent on courage.
Alright, so Chex has 1 more check here on the mountain. He's going to check Spiral Cave. And after that, he's got decisions to make.
I would... In his position, I would probably lead toward going to Swamp Palace.
Yeah, now both of our runners left the basement. Tadaru's at least going to crack TR and at least take a look at the hen, it looks like. Checks with a save quit. He's going to be going back down the swamp.
The main question we have to ask is, when is Tadaru going to make the mirror checks to find the Cane of Samaria hiding in the graveyard ledge, as the hint provides him not a whole lot. Looks like he will spin speed his way over to checkerboard.
Check's not wanting to leave this location. He's finally got it unlocked. It is a fetch quest. The sick kid got sick off some drugs.
Cold wind off of Death Mountain. Bad shrooms.
So let's immediately go trade those bad shrooms in.
Definitely has to make you wonder if Kakariko is the nice village it truly is.
Shrooms for some booms.
And Check's going to realize doesn't quite have enough money for that blue option. So, well, that's something you wouldn't normally run into unless you're playing retro. You would think by an hour and 47 minutes you'd have more than enough money for a blue potion.
Yeah, but when every chest in Hyrule is only filled with 5 rupees.
It's an interesting point. It's interesting to look at is if he were to go to Ganon's to fight Ganon, he would not be able to complete it without using the silverless strats. He doesn't quite have enough money.
Maybe he needs to go make a stop at the archery game.
Alright, and looks like Chex is gonna make his dip into Swamp Palace. Definitely seems like the higher percentage play, as we are still looking for the ever-elusive Ice Rod.
Yeah, we're down to just that one item you don't want to be looking for in this game. And all the places left in the world it could be.
And as Tadaru selects the item that is the key to two rather large items in the pool, being the Cane of Samaria, locked in Graveyard Ledge, and the Bombos tablet holding onto the silvers. One can only hope that he makes those mirror checks shortly.
Yeah, he doesn't have much option at this point. After he finishes this check up here, he doesn't have access to TR. He could come down and do Swamp, but after that, he's down to only his mirror lock locations.
Interestingly enough, he's climbing back up the mountain.
Oh, he hasn't checked Paradox, so it looks like.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Chex definitely has a significant lead, but don't downplay it. Depending on where that Ice Rod could be, you never know.
And the Ice Rod is definitely the crux of this seed. Now, it makes me wonder if we get through the Swamp Palace and we get at the divergence, whether it being in Turtle Rock or being in Ganon's Tower.
No, you clear GT 100%. Or at least you clear the basement of GT 100%. Because if you find it in the basement of GT, you leave GT, you clear Turtle Rock, and then you go back into GT after you already having the big key and just having to do the climb.
It's an interesting, though, it could be a divergence. If you're feeling behind, you may make that gamble, as Chex has made a couple of gambles in this, all of which have paid off thus far.
Chex going straight to the back.
Alright, Daru disappointed with what the sick kid has. He's gonna go turn his shrooms into some booms. And it looks like Chex is deciding to go straight toward Argus.
Yeah, he's still got 4 more checks back here, 3 chests in Argus itself. Then he can make the decision if he doesn't find it. Do I want to come back in and check, you know, west side?
Well, there's that blue potion he couldn't afford earlier.
Yeah, this one's just been, you know, underwater for a couple 100 years.
Do you think potions age well?
I don't know. Maybe it's like the peach stuff from that Holes book. It just gets fermented and, you know, makes it crazy. There's not really a dark world, it's just, you know, Link tripping on bad potion.
Interesting thought. And it looks like Chex is going to make his way back toward Argus. As Tadaru is looking toward that swamp play.
Again, one of the things, you can't really say anything, it's a dungeon you can full clear.
No, absolutely. As far as the item dense locations, it's definitely something it goes for. One would only hope after finding not the cane in there, he will head toward that graveyard ledge.
Ice Rod!
And, ladies and gentlemen, 1 hour, 51 minutes, and 51 seconds in, Chexhuman has entered Go mode. And one could only wonder if he may be heading toward Ganon's Tower.
I would doubt it at this point. I believe he'll probably take out Turtle Rock. It's the only logical play.
Alright, so we'll be heading for a Go mode Turtle Rock.
Yes, it's going to be a Go mode Turtle Rock, which of course means that you're going to have the big key, like vanilla, in the worst possible location.
Interesting looking back and seeing that the biggest moment in this seed was the decision to double dip the Misery Mire. It's done fairly early by Chex.
Yeah, it was definitely an early... He didn't have a ton he could do, but there was a couple of options, and dipping the mire probably wouldn't have been high on the priority list, but it paid off in spades.
Chex definitely having a few gambles that certainly paid off. As he will be cracking open the turtle, we will jet our way through this dungeon, hopefully.
Now, Tadaru looking for a lot more stuff. I wonder if he's going to go straight to the west side here. Yeah, he is.
That's the play. Now, what also feels unfortunate is when he finds that ice rod, he may go...
No cane.
That's the end of the long race talking to me.
Yeah, the good news is he's going to be pretty much stuck on path. The only off-path choice he can still make is to go complete Misery Mire. Or no, he can't even do that with no cane. He has to go check those mirror lock locations.
Interestingly enough, one of the features of Retrobot is he just got to flood the key.
Yeah, doesn't need it. Forget it.
I can just go buy them. Who needs them? And
Hey, big key.
Early big key, so we'll get to skip out on the lava chest. There's another key for Tadaru. Alright, and he should be mirroring out and heading toward Argus.
Yeah, he'll head back toward Argus, find himself a blue goo, as well as his ice rod.
And it has to feel good in retro mode, being able to gun it right past those chain chomps.
Yeah, just being able to say, forget you guys, I'm going on. Yeah, Turtle Rock's definitely one of those dungeons that if you find the early big key feels a ton better in retro. You can just come in here and be like, I'm just going to skip every mechanic of this dungeon and go straight on to Trinex.
The only way you can get to Trinex faster is if you're running it through inverted. Chat with the Super Go Mode TR.
Yeah, that being where it was, that's the second fastest TR you could possibly have in retro, unless it was in the compass chest. Or use major glitches, good point.
May not be the best play in this tournament, but Chexhuman is heading back toward Trinex. Interesting choice in setup. So he gets bullied around by that anti-fairy.
Yeah, he definitely took a couple lumps there, but he should be okay. He's got his blue mail, he's got his full magic tempered sword. Just should be pretty fast fight here.
Alright, it's down to execution here. Interesting, the increase in speed is he's already cleared Aga 1, so after he finishes Ganon's tower, he'll be able to head straight into the Ganon fight. Right,
yeah, although he could use some more rupees to use silver arrows.
Well, he should hopefully find some along his way to finding the Ganon's tower big key, as he's a little bit early on that spin, but it doesn't matter. Alright, and with that, I think we should start seeing some numbers in chat. You want to let them know why?
Absolutely. Let me kick this off, or you can kick it off. We got a little game we like to play here. It's called the Ganon's Tower Big Key Guessing Game. Guess the number 1 through 22 inside the chat to find where that Ganon's Tower Big Key may be located. If you've happened to donate 250 bits or be a subscriber to the Speed Gaming family of channels, you could be entered to be spot on the leaderboard if you happen to win for everyone's ever-loving glory, fame, and affection.
And I may find you and give you a hug somewhere. Alright, get your guesses in chat. What are you thinking?
14. I usually go 14.
17 usually reaches out to me. And the crystals are spinning. The stairs should descend.
Get your guesses in quick. You got until he gets in the door. Might let it go a little extra second until he gets down toward the first basement.
Stairs are down. Time is up. Everybody, good luck.
Check's going straight left side, not even bothering those right checks. Number 1 is a compass on the torch.
And Bob is alive.
Grabbing his key, heading towards Stalfos. Tadaru, check the tablet, did get himself his silvers.
Alright, excellent.
Number 2!
Well, well, well. After all that running around it did, it finally set it up.
All right, the correct answer was number 2. The first sub reported to guess it was tmi.twitch.tv.
Congratulations to you. It looks like Chex is going to make quick way up the gauntlet, choosing to fire off some of those arrows. Interesting, because he still doesn't have the 200 rupees he would need to fit. Oh, I suppose he has no other choice.
Yeah,
Will
he doesn't have much of a choice here.
But now he has to search for money on the way up. Is 118 rupees short of being able to silver arrow Ganon in the face.
Maybe open a few chests, maybe just go silverless. So Tadaru check cave, the cave south of the grove. He's now checking Spike. After this, he's really only got, I think, Graveyard to go.
It's unfortunate choosing to come up here first. Looks like he may be committing himself to silverless as he walks away from that 5 rupee.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Big 20 was pretty tempting. But I would have to imagine that if Chexhuman is very confident in his silverless Ganon, and considering the lead that he may feel he had because of those gambles that paid off so quickly.
And now he's picking up rupees. I don't know.
Perhaps he just realized that he's going to need those, as he unfortunately does not get that off.
Yeah, so that's going to sync up this room.
Managed to hit all 3 with that spin, though.
Yeah, that was nice. Makes pretty good work of that room, all things considered.
Alright, he'll head on further up. And here comes Tadaru finally finding his cane. Fortunately, at this point, his fate is all but signed, sealed, and delivered, barring all of the Ganon falls that have ever been seen.
And Tadaru gets his cane of Samaria.
And that is go mode for him at 2 hours and 2 minutes.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of time to make up, and it's just run through an already cleared out mire and a pretty fast TR to go.
And he will still also have to do Aga 1. But he will have a lot of ground to cover. Check the chest, hopefully rupee drops. Not quite the amount he wanted.
There we
go! Alright, Chex is going to feel pretty confident heading toward the Ganon fight now.
Finds himself a big old pack of silver arrows. I mean 6.
6 is a decent bundle of arrows. Go ahead and picking up that full magic refill as it heads into Moldorm 2.
He's a nice first hit off. Moldorm 2 playing nicely. Maybe we'll check the last chest for some more rupees.
Just in case he wastes a silver shot.
Hey, 1 rupee!
I mean, it's technically money. The green rupee saved is a green rupee earned?
Something. Alright, so it's Tadaru down in the basement. Chexhuman coming up on Aga 2.
Let us see if the geometry plays well with him today. That's a nice setup for a potential triple. Only catching 2.
Not bad, though. Ooh, that's not as nice.
Definitely not. So close. That's 4. Very clean as we head to the Big Pig.
Yeah, down goes Aga 2. Really interesting geometry on those shots, but 2 or 3 clean doubles.
Absolutely well executed, and here comes the big pig. Yeah, with Temper Sword and the silver arrows and plenty of rupees to go around, he should be doing okay.
I think that actually the biggest benefit here is the fact he's still got a blue potion, finally.
Why is there a light in the fridge indeed?
Nice double spin off the trident.
Definitely setting himself for very quick phase 1 and phase 2. Good to note that he will have 8 shots with his silver arrows.
Tadaru dropping himself 80, and down goes Vitreous.
Alright, and he'll be heading up to Turtle Rock and then Ganon's Tower. Yes, we did, Ganon. Finally turning on those silver arrows and dropping 50. Goes for the torch glitch and gets it. Two shots, 2 hits. There's 3.
Oh, and 4.
And the final 50 rupees to seal Ganon's fate. And let's start to get those GGs in chat for Chexhuman, who looks to be the winner of our race.
Absolutely. GG's to Chex.
And with the crossing of the bridge, we can inform you that Chexhuman has finished in first place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 24 seconds. GG. That will move him into to 6 and 4 so far in the group stages. He has 2/3 of his races to go, 5 left. And we'll look to see if we can't get him in here shortly for an interview.
Yeah, we got Tadaru climbing up toward TR. That's an aside. That's pretty good. He's got 2/3 of his races done in under 2 weeks here in the group stage. He's gonna have a lot of time to practice for if he's gonna be moving on here. Alright, so TR is already cracked. Tadaru's all he's got to do is go in. Probably going to be a third chest he checks. He's going to find himself a big key and be rushing himself off the Trinax.
Alright, heading toward the compass chest. He doesn't have too long to find his big key, and with plenty of keys sitting in his inventory, he will not have to deal with a lot of the pitfalls of this dungeon.
Yeah, no laser bridge, no lava, no nothing.
Alright, and it looks like Chexhuman is here, so we will pull him in for an interview. Welcome, Chexhuman, and GG on a great race.
Yeah, GG, man.
Thanks, GG.
So, just general thoughts on the seed to start out?
It was a very linear seed. I've been tracking spheres lately, just on my own notes, and it was really interesting to see that. I thought the light world was sort of incomplete at just like 4 items: moon pearl, sword, glove, and cape, and then there was an ether somewhere, but there was nothing else. And then each of the other spheres was only 1 to 3 items. So glove led to mitts, or I'm not. Wait, where were mitts again? That was the second sphere.
No, it was gloves in cac to mitts in the back of escape, which logically led you to fire rod of digging, which led you to Skullwood's flippers, back to the hammer, which you sequence broke.
Yeah.
Which eventually led you to the bow and ice, which was just crazy.
And that was like 45 minutes later, because I forgot about Ice Palace.
I was wondering.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, I was wondering why you chose to dive away from ice for so long, but harkening back to that sequence, harkening back to that sequence break, how did you feel when you found that hammer?
Pretty good, of course. I just knew that I didn't have logical access to East Dark World until finding a lamp for Aga Tower or the flippers, and the flippers were easy, just in Skullwoods. And then there you go. Mirror was so deep in this. I don't know. It was just crazy.
Yeah, that was the next question to segue into, was the feeling on getting that mirror in the uncompletable Misery Mire.
I had literally nothing else. I even felt bad going into desert after getting the book, because there's it was either Misery Mire or desert for progression, and Misery Mire has more items. I needed the big key anyway, but I went to desert instead. I'm not sure why.
Oh, it's the completable dungeon, and
yeah,
it's definitely not the worst play you could have made. It just didn't happen to be the right one. But you pretty much immediately went into Mire, where Tadaru went and checked a few things else before getting to that point.
Yeah, it was a really fun race to watch, especially with as linear as it was. Just a little bit of routing differences here and there. A lot of this came down to a couple of different things. You actually managing that hint out of Aga, which was actually kind of big.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
On top of that, Tadaru ended up double dipping. He didn't clear Thieves completely on the first go round. Died in Ice Palace on the double Freezor room.
Okay.
Yeah, the bomb jump was not kind to him. So that leads me to the next question: the decision to dip Aga 1 when you did.
Yeah, I knew I had to do it, so it made sense to go with the big bomb, which had a unique item, the blue boomerang.
Well,
and I should have done Dark Aga Tower, because I was in there looking for items, but I again made a mistake. So, just forgetting that I needed to do it just for the goal. But I got it done eventually. I didn't lose too much time there, I guess.
no, and it definitely feels better going in there with the lamp than without.
Yeah, you definitely have some really solid routing all throughout. Tadaru with a really nice try-next fight. He's going to be moving on to his Ganis Tower. Let's hope he goes left side as well.
It's definitely interesting to see that big key come up so quickly after what seemed to be kind of a slow-moving but linear seed.
Right, and the same feeling with the Ice Rod, where I thought it would be in Ganon's Tower. When it was just on Argus, you couldn't miss it.
It's definitely a feels good moment, so you don't have to worry about where is it? Is it here? Is it there? Do I have to clear through Ganon's Tower only to find it back in Turtle Rock itself?
Yeah, I really feel like you did a good job, especially because at times, even from the commentating point of view here, Tadaru looks to be going right side. We'll have to see how far off this is going to throw him. But the seed, it felt like, oh, well, there's so much stuff to do, but there really wasn't. You guys didn't have East Death Mountain access for 80 minutes.
Yeah.
And it looks
like I picked up my mirror at 1 hour and 19 minutes or something.
Yeah, that was crazy. And it looks like he gets to be forced to the left side of this. There was nothing but money on the right side of GT.
Well, it's not like it's retro, and he's got 1,000 keys anyway.
But deciding to go for the muscle memory and walk away from where the keys aren't.
Yeah, good idea. It's about to pay off in one chest.
I kind of thought about going to the Hope Room first, and then unlocking the middle door, and then going left. But I'm glad it worked out without doing that.
Routing GT definitely proves a little more interesting when you have extra keys coming in that you can play with however you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the Ganon's Tower even being nice to you all the way through with that nice little 300 drop in the mini helmet room.
Yeah, that was fun. That was what I was looking for, of course. After getting the big key.
All right, and looking into the tournament ahead, that moves you up to 6 and 4. You're 2/3 through your races. How do you feel finishing out the final 5?
Good. I'm optimistic. Yeah, I'd give it my best shot. And yeah, I'm just having fun with the tournament. I'm not practicing too much, or I don't know.
All right, and then looking back, this was your choice of variation. It would appear. Why retro?
It's just unusual. It's kind of like entrance light, Keysanity light. I like the keys, the routing differences that come up. It's kind of interesting to have to like scrounge for cash too. I don't know. I just think it's kind of cool. I wish it weren't broken at the moment, but
yeah, but
there was no way I wasn't going to buy the wooden arrows.
Oh no, absolutely, and with how late that bow came in, it didn't really come into play all that much. And you guys found
Exactly.
the take any's almost very, very quickly into the race.
It was very weird. Did Tadaru find the sword upgrade?
Yep,
Yeah,
he did find all of them.
He found the same ones you found. He ended up going to the dark shopping mall about 20 minutes after you did.
Right, so it was pretty funny to see that the take any replaced a hint. So I don't know what the logic would, or like what if it were like a non-race ROM or something where you could see. Well, I don't know if the spoilers would say hints in these, but it would just be interesting to see if the game like shuffled a hint in there and then deleted it, or if it just doesn't shuffle a hint if there's no hint.
That's something that didn't even occur to us when that happened, that was a hint tile room that was replaced.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I realized it. I just didn't know what was going on there, so I just kind of ignored it. It was the one under the rock, right?
Right. And then I checked the fairy cave just in case I had forgotten where it was or something.
As Tadaru is making quick and easy work of the gauntlet.
Yeah, he's almost up to his torch room. It's not going to be that long now. So, Chex, you got any other thoughts or final thoughts on the seed, or do you got any more races already scheduled coming up?
I've one on Thursday with John Rossum's. A more modest, just open seed with Uncle Assured Sword. So I need to schedule some more.
Well, you've got quite a bit of time left. You've only got 5 races, and you've got quite a few weeks left to get all these in.
Yeah, I guess so.
Alright, so looking forward to the tournament, is there any mode that you're just not looking forward to potentially seeing chosen by your opponents?
Oh, I'm afraid to say. I've mentioned it before, my combat is not the best it could be. So I tend to lag behind an Randomizer. And if I if I lose my focus and think about things other than like the dungeon routing, then I might miss an item for 70 minutes and then lose the race. But other than that, I enjoy all the variations and I'm up for the challenge.
Well, that's definitely good to hear. That's part of the game of this tournament, is being able to master not just the routing in the game itself, but all the different variations that we've put into this game.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we come into Aga 2, Tadaru has brought out the net.
At this point, knowing he's behind, he's just looking to have a little bit of fun for us all.
Yeah, he knows that his opponent's already finished. He's going to have a little bit of fun for the crowd here.
And that was a really good triple with the bug net.
I don't know if it was triple, it was definitely double.
Hard to say. It looks like they all made contact. Whether they actually did damage is another thing.
It's not bad. I think it was a 5 cycle with the bug net. It's pretty solid.
All right, and the big, but he will still have to head toward Aga 1.
Yeah, you still got to climb in front of him.
Well, I'd like to thank Chexhuman for joining us, as we will focus on Tadaru finishing out this seed.
Thank you.
You have a great night, and GG.
GG, man. Get it, man. Alright, so sure enough, luckily he remembers, and he pulls out the mirror. We wouldn't want him to drop in without it.
And it looks like he will head up, and he's got just about enough rubies to get to Ganon when he gets there. The Castle Gauntlet should prove not too difficult.
Yeah, not at this point. Not with his loadout.
Curious to see if he sees that hint or not. I doubt it with him being in go mode, but you never know.
I don't know. If I've already finished, I'd probably check it, and if I saw some Maria hint, I'd probably bomb the hint tile. Luckily, he had enough keys left over. He didn't even bother with anything. Not like he would have got any items anyway, but he had just enough keys to eke through here.
It's a great little bit of routing toward the end of this. We'll have to stop for that one.
And I'll have to stop for the one up here in the Circle of Pots as well.
Sure showing his displeasure, leaving him at exactly the amount of rupees he needs to kill Ganon.
Let's hope that well, he didn't have enough for 5 anyway, so let's hope it still doesn't come back to bite him a little bit. Again, I would have used bombs, cheaper.
Definitely in retro mode. And we'll head toward the final couple rooms and back to Aga 1.
Now remember, this Aga 1's not going to be the fastest thing. No, Tadaru, that doesn't stun anymore. It's hard mode.
Easy for one to forget, as the hard mode really didn't come into play much this seed.
No, it's been, other than the fact that they only had the 1 mail upgrade and they weren't able to grab it until they got that book pretty deep in.
Alright, cutting this curtain, and we're back to our rather slow Aga 1. This time choosing to do it with the sword. Alright, I'm gonna get our lightning phase. We'll go next reflectable shortly. And we continue on playing Aga Tennis. Taking a couple rage slashes at Aga 1. Kind of puts him in a low health situation when we get to Ganon here. No, what matters, he'll get the refill. This is Aga 1. And down goes the wizard. So we find our way back to the top of the pyramid, and we'll drop down to meet the big pig. Alright, and equipped as he is, we should make quick use of this fight. And setting up the nice double off the trident spin. Flashing away. Making good use of the hookshot invulnerability there as he'll head likely into phase 3. Oh, not quite enough damage. Dodge the fire bats and force us towards phase 3 as we'll lose part of the floor. And again, we'll get to remind us of where those silver arrows are, which he did find.
Yeah, it's gonna be after a little bit dancing with the Stars Hyrule Edition, though.
All right, here comes our first silver shot. Oop!
No, he shot. Oh no.
He just shot a regular arrow. He forgot to flip the switch.
And the second one didn't count.
Rather unfortunate.
Now, I'll be perfectly honest here. I don't know the logistics of getting half and half here, but I'm going to assume that's going to cut a large chunk of his silverless spins he's going to need off.
Alright, starting to do the spins. Oof. A little close for comfort there. Showing off a little bit of the silverless Ganon fight. It's not as bad once you get the timing down.
Yeah, once you get the timing down, you should be able to get consistent doubles off. After a good bit of practice, you can get consistent triples. And there, down he goes.
Down goes the invisible pig. And showing his frustration to the floor. Get your GGs in chat for Tadaru.
Yeah, GGs. Way to stick it in there. Way to make it through.
Definitely was a tougher seed. And Tadaru will finish in second place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 27 minutes, and 9 seconds. GG.
Definitely GGs.
All right, and what did you think of that? All things said and done, there, Demon.
Like a lot of what Chex said here, this is it was a very, very linear seed, and it had a very certain order of operations it wanted you to go through. A lot of the combat wasn't the hardest; it was just a lot of very awkward dungeon diving. Like it would even if I was running, it would seem like a very out of place ice palace, getting it done that early in your dungeon rotation, but being required.
Alright, and looks like we are joined now by Tadaru, our second place finisher. GG's to you.
Yeah, GG, man.
Thank you.
Alright, so we'll start with the usual. What are your initial thoughts on that seed?
That was quite the slog, and it was very linear.
That was definitely the comment that the other Chex had, and us definitely sent us pretty much in one direction, having a lot of just one-item gates that really sent us through. I guess the operative question is to take us through our rather tough time in the Palace of Ice.
Oh, that was just painful. Like, just when I didn't have enough magic for that one more fire rod shot to kill that last Freezor to get the chest, and then I was going to go to the big chest below and get the bow there. It was just really frustrating, but I figure if I didn't die there, good chance I probably would have died on Cold Stare with only the Master Sword and Green Mail.
That was one of the variant points, that you didn't get the Tempered Sword until after you made your first dip, and Chex found it beforehand. It was interesting to find all of those take any so quickly in this retro seed.
Well, I wouldn't say. Well, the sword one definitely was pretty deep in, and I did have a bit of a chuckle at the vanilla tempered sword, yeah.
Yeah, you all came across the same swords, and it really was just one of those. I was mentioning it earlier. Just an awkward feeling seed about the dungeon order that you were running here and everything. And we saw your obvious displeasure at the Samaria Hinton Aga 1.
Well, I didn't mean to shoot the arrows at it. I meant to just get myself down to exactly 200 rupees so I could end the seed broke.
Unfortunately, the hitting that switch on the silvers.
Yeah, that's what really cost me. It's not like I cost myself another silver shot anyway. I never got to 250.
No, it's just one of those things that's easy to forget if you don't run a lot of retro, especially in hard mode.
Well, I've been practicing my retro for sure, but it's come back to bite me. Like I've had another race that was a normal mode, and I lost that one too, and I picked it. Admittedly, I ran into a lot of bad luck with that one, but still, I'm wary of picking it again if I have the choice.
Rando can giveth and it can taketh.
Yeah, well, it will be your choice for your next match against Chex here whenever you guys schedule it down. I'm sure you'll give us another good one if you know it gets restreamed and everything here. Like I said, even with the time disparity, it was really a good back and forth race, especially for the first 60-70 minutes.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't a total runaway for the whole thing. That's kind of what I was expecting.
No, it stayed pretty close for some time, and it definitely GG's to you for sticking and persevering through what must not have felt the best going through.
Oh, it did not, especially that pod dip, the Palace of Darkness dip that turned up nothing, and I couldn't even potion glitch because it buried the bottles that deep.
Well, you don't have to feel too bad on that, as Chex made the same play, though he did have the sequence broken hammer, but didn't lead to much else without that ability to open up that bottle.
Yeah.
Alright, so with this, it moves you to 2 and 3. You're a third of the way through your races. How do you think you fared going toward the rest of your races in this group stage?
Well, I mean, I still haven't done any matches with Kyong92, so I'm, well, as pessimistic as it sounds, I don't like my chances against him, but maybe I can at least go above 500.
Well, anything can happen to any runner, depending on where the logic sends them.
Yep, and I did overhear Chex while I was waiting for myself to finish up on stream. I'm thinking Randomizer.
Well, I'll definitely be happy to see that. I always love casting some Randomizer, especially some open Randomizer, when we can get some crazy overworlds going. So, Tadaru, do you have any other thoughts on how that all played out, or any other comments for anybody that might be watching?
Well, it was kind of exactly the seed. I didn't need to beat Chexhuman because I figure he's probably got me. An execution and a linear, and especially an all dungeon seed, just really would kind of put the edge for him instead of me. So I'm hoping that I get something that I can really pull ahead on next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, thank you very much for running this for us. You guys both, produced a pretty good show here. You gave us all an amazing bout of entertainment, and I can't wait to see you and Chex both streaming some races for us here in the future, and keeping us on the edge of our seats again.
Well, you're welcome.
And thank you for being willing to come in and join us for the interview after that really long seed.
All right, so we dropped a couple links in chat. Make sure you follow both of our runners here, as well as my co-com, Bungie to the Tree, and also our tracker, Who42 Baker. And even if you feel so inclined, myself, Demon RHK, you know, everyone here in the Speed Gaming family channels 1 to 6 and the LTTPR Randomizer 1 to 5. We're trying to put on the best we can here for you in the fall 2018 Randomizer tournament. And I'm sure we got a full slate coming in for you tomorrow here as well.
Absolutely. Thank you once again to Daru, and thank you so much to my co-commentator, Demon RHK. I think it's time to send us all off to bed. It's been a long day of Randomizer. We've had a lot of fun. We've seen a lot of seeds, and we've killed a lot of Ganons. And once again, I'm Bungie to the Tree. Good night and good luck.